Hi everyone, this is your host Latifa Swailah. Welcome to Qudwa's podcast powered by the CFA Society Bahrain. At Qudwa, we believe in the philosophy of paying it forward. This is why we are recreating our conversations that we have with people we look up to. We would like to take this time to thank Ahli United Bank in continuously supporting us in our initiatives. Samih Abu Taleb is currently the Group Head Digital Transformation at Ahli United Bank. He has been key speaker on the panel of experts in various prestigious international conferences organized by companies such as Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and more. He's a Harvard Business School / IESE Business School alumnus with a track record of having built winning digital business models in the banking and telecom space. He's a business transformation, digitization, and innovation leader with global experience in conceptualizing and driving large business transformation projects at CXO levels to enhance organizations' core businesses across multiple functions. Welcome, Samih. So, Samih, the technology advancements has paved a lot of ways for so many businesses and even startups to transform and innovate those kind of sectors. And they've successfully run the businesses in which it enabled them to gain momentum in the market. So can you please give us an overview of how technology has transformed this industry?
Okay. Thank you, Latifa, for the intro. Actually, new technology transformed the whole banking industry, and not only the banking industry, across the globe on all the different dimensions. Especially if you are taking in particular about 2020 and the impact of the pandemic, where it accelerated also the adapting of the new technologies and the trends. Beside also the launch of the 5G as a transformation to the way how we are communicating, how we are transmitting the data, and the ability to process more data with the new power of artificial intelligence and the machine learning and the computing capabilities which was recently introduced. Beside the new way of how doing things, looking more towards customer experience. And even in the customer experience, there is now much more enhanced, I would say, speciality inside the customer experience from a technology point of view. So on that regard, you have a new science which was introduced, which is called Ethnographic Design. So I will go and even design based on a specific community, based on a specific culture, based on a specific language as well. So that was, I would say, the advancement in the technology supported by the artificial intelligence, the augmented reality, the virtual reality as well. So there was a new trends. I can even summarize it to you in a very quick points, which is mainly the artificial intelligence, the introducing of the 5G, how it helped transmitting the data and communicating with the clients, either in the banking industry, retail clients, or business clients. Beside the customer experience, which is mainly on the artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality. However, that also introduced few challenges related to the security, how to secure your clients, how to protect the data, how to transmit the data. So all in all, I think the technology created more opportunity to businesses, especially in the banking industry.
You've touched upon the challenges that we're currently facing in terms of digital transformation, but can you please elaborate more, and how can we overcome those challenges?
Okay. Change by itself is a challenge, even if you are taking it on a normal way. Today, if you are saying that I'm shifting my home, imagine the blocks in your mind saying that I need to rearrange my stuff, I need to throw some stuff, I need to buy new things. So change by itself is a resistance. So the first resistance what you will face in any transformation program, usually the pushback from your employees, because they are getting exposed to the unknown, the new way of doing things. So in transformation, the overarching, I would say, resistance is the employee pushback. At the same time, having the right capacity in terms of budget, because you will be transforming your systems, your processes, your upskilling your people, talent, the way how you are communicated to your clients. Then the lack of experience of subject matter experts in that transformation. because they are a rare commodities, and as a product they are very high in demand across all the different industries. So to find the right talented people is important. Also the capacity from allocating resources, which is mainly on the budget side. Any transformation comes with an expense because you do have the legacy processes, legacy architecture, legacy way of doing things. So you need to transform. Transformation is also required a cost. However, this cost for the smart CEOs, they should consider it as an investment because they are building the new organization for the future. So if you look to any change, it's mainly on 3 levels. The change is mainly on your technology and how you are processing your customer data, how you are interacting with your customer data. The change is on the HR side with the people, how you're gonna go and uplift and upscale your existing people to be able to be ready for the future organization and the way of operating. And the last and the most important critical in this transformation is your data. How you make your data user-friendly, how you make it accessible, and how you make it actionable data, meaning that I have an information about Latifa at any point of time. If I don't use it at that moment, it will lose the value out of it. So the ability to react and linking the dots between all of 3 different points, which being considered as a challenge, gonna create an opportunity for an organization. So if I automate the process of how I am interacting with the customer or with the client like Latifa, I have a talented staff and I am empowered with the data. So all of this will generate more value to the organization.
So as Samih, what kind of challenges are you currently facing and how are you able to overcome them?
Okay. I think the first point which I was telling you about is mainly about the resistance of the people in the context of as an organization used to do things in a certain way for many years, coming and telling them that no, that is okay, that is going to get obsolete in the next 2 or 3 years and we have to upgrade our operating model. So the first resistance or the first challenge would be mainly to convince people. And how you are convincing, or at least how do we convince people, is saying that you are part of the change. You are not outside the change. Because I give you a simple example. If I come to our operations team and I'm saying that I'm introducing a new robotic process automation. So the first question which will come to the individual mind is, do I still have a job? Okay, so I should make whatever possible not to execute this project, or I should make it a failure so I could maintain my job. So this pushback from the employees and the resistance towards the new way of doing things is one of the major challenges any program can face. So how you make them part of it is to explain to them, saying that the first piece for you is to learn and to make your process lean, and then to improve on the process, because I need your time to do the extraordinary things, not the ordinary things which can be replicated and repeated by a machine. So the people resistance is one of the main, I would say, challenges. Luckily, we have a very strong executive acceptance to the change and adaptation, and that's why the allocation of the resources, which includes the financial allocation in terms of budget, in terms of people deployment, in terms of prioritization of the initiatives. So this is supposed to be a challenge in different organizations, because the investment amount on any program, I can tell you about like the previous program in previous organization where I was leading changes. So for example, in Emirates NBD, the investment was around 950 million dirham, which is almost $1 billion dirham for the transformation program over 4 years. In another assignment, it was almost $500 million. So in terms of investment, and this investment goes on to the 3 levels. So from a resource allocation, budget allocation, it is a challenge as a CEO to go to your board saying that I would like to spend X amount of money, but what is your return of investment? Okay, we might get A, B, and C. Might. So it's a challenge to convince people. But if we are saying that we are investing this not to make money, just for survival, people will say, yes, we want to do it and we should do it. And we should not be late in doing it, actually. We should accelerate it more. And if there are a way to push it much more faster, let's do it. So resource allocations cost, transformation is inexpensive. So is another dimension. And also the organization structure. Usually organization structure is meant to be an operational, to run the business, not to change the business. So usually people will think that with an existing operational capacity of the organization, from a structure, from a people, how they are reporting lines, all of these things, is the right way of doing transformation. No, it will not be. Because if I take a simple example of a fintech company, compare it to a bank, where a flat organization versus a very hierarchical organization with maker, checker, authorizer, manager, bureaucracy is to the max in a banking industry, versus a fintech where it is a very flat organization. So the decision-making capabilities is much more faster, easier. People are all empowered. People are all part of the change. That is another point. So part of your change in the transformation is also to break the organization structure and build the organization for the future. So in summary, I will tell you that these are the main, I would say, point. I would not call them challenges because I see them also as an opportunities.
So going back to the point that you mentioned when it came to people's resistance, I think if you put yourself in those people's shoes, it's quite understandable when they don't really have transferable skills for them to be worried about them losing their jobs. So, or especially if they're in a dying industry, for example. So what transferable skills would focus on that can be applied somewhere else, or it can probably enhance in the job place that they're in?
I think the most critical skill set which people should have is the ability to unlearn. So I unlearn what I used to do it, because if I keep doing the same things in the same way, most likely it will give me the same results, and the probability of give me better results is much less. So the ability to unlearn what I used to do and learn something new, and that should be my pattern, and that should be my way of life, is how things gonna go and accelerate. Meaning today I learned that I should, for example, to conduct a simple transaction, I should have 3 steps. The first question is, why I need to have 3 steps? If people can do it in 1 step, why I should continue to do it in 3 steps? So the ability to unlearn, which is removing the stereotype or removing the what you call it, concept, saying that I know everything and this is the best way of doing things, is my way. No. So the ability to unlearn. Second important and critical, I would say, skill set which is required for the future is the communication skills. Communication, the ability to explain, the ability to convince, to influence in a right way about your idea, about your product, about your innovation. Because today you have a lot of people who are like hidden gems within the organization, that they either by the old culture, they don't expose themselves because they are fearing from, yeah, he told us something and it didn't work, or no, this idea is not good. But if you open the communication channel with everybody in the organization, at the same time you as an individual upskilled yourself in terms of communication, by learning a new language, by learning new techniques, by speaking to somebody to coach you, going and approaching mentoring. Like, for example, the Qudwa program is an very excellent example about how we are supporting and how we are helping people to unleash the potentials they have inside themselves. So I think that the ability for the communication is important. Second important initiative which people should learn and skill set is the ability to analytical thinking. You should not restrict your mind or box yourself in a certain approach. Always a question. And the questions in 3 W's. I say why, and why. So usually people will know things basically under the second or the third question, because the first question, why I'm doing this, because someone else told me how to do it. But why he is doing it like that is the question. Yeah, now it is opening my mind to think. And why is that required is the third question, which will help you to analyze and to understand how things to be done. And that should give you that capability to correlate events, correlate ideas, construct a new approach of doing things. So that's the third skills, which I say that it is important. Also, dynamic. To be dynamic and wear multiple hats at the same time is also important as a new skill set, because one time I am doing an analyst role, so one time I'm doing an engineer role, one time I'm doing. So within your skill set and capacity, the wide range of roles and responsibilities is also required for the future. And I again go to the fintech example, where you will find the CEO of the company. He's the one who's controlling the financials. He's the one who's controlling the admin and the corporate communication. And he has one or two staff who's doing development, testing, and rollout of a product. So that flexibility, capability, which will create the unique product of you. So I would say that again, to sum it up, the ability to learn and learn, communication, analytical skill set, and also being able to be dynamic and flexible in your roles. This is beside your core competencies related to the subject matter expertise which you had, like either in finance or in technology or in medical or in engineering. That's something which you should master, because that is the prerequisite for you to advance on any of these three. You cannot have a communication with an empty content. You can't have an skill set that is irrelevant to you, what you are doing. So and always you should have a hobby, because hobby will always support you to accelerate and to free up your mind and support your passion. So you should have a hobby like a music or sport or so these are the skill sets which you should maintain, but you should complement it with a hobby. That's my I would say advice.
So what I would take from from all the points that you just mentioned is to basically, for a person to keep an open mind to every possibility.
Yes, being open-minded, yeah.
So I'm a person who came from a finance background, and I don't know anything about digital transformation. Like, I hear the word blockchain or artificial intelligence. Like, these are, for me, just words. So what new skills would someone like me, for instance, with zero background on digital transformation or digital, would learn that would be deemed very critical to have today?
Okay. Latifa, there are, I would say, misuse of the word digital transformation. Because in my opinion, being more than 15 years now in this particular transformation, and prior to that, I was also another 5 years in telecom companies, I don't mark it as digital, because transformation is the way how you are doing things. Technology is one vertical out of the transformation component, because today I can transform how I'm doing things even without knowing blockchain, or even without doing an artificial intelligence. Reorganizing the steps of how I am doing business is also important, and it is a transformation. So technology is an important, integral, very supportive platform to transform. So transformation is people, transformation is how we are doing work, and the platform which we will use is the technology. Now, technology is giving me an advantage against others, meaning that today, and advancements as well. So if I have a very simple dashboard that can tell me about my current business operations, how it is managed, and the predictive analytics, and the ability to analyze this data with the support of the AI, I will have more advantage that versus someone who's having only a dashboard. So that additional incremental 5 to 10% of introducing a tool might also improve my value by 50 to 60% in terms of value. Now, going back to the technology. Technology is very important vertical inside transformation, but it is not the only one. I can have the most advanced technology, but if I don't have an operating model, it will not succeed. if I have the most advanced, it's like I have the most advanced racing car, but I don't have a driver. How can I win a race? For sure, no. And the other way around, if I have a most skillful driver or like racer or whoever, and does not have a car, he cannot run and himself inside the track and win the race. No. So it's complementing each other. However, technology nowadays comes in two different flavors. One is hardcore designing, building the product, and the second one is the use it, how I can use it. So in a finance, for example, I learn about the technology from and how it will complement and add value to my line of business or my knowledge or my experience. That's why for you need to know more about artificial intelligence, how it is used. For example, in the finance industry nowadays, there is nothing called, like, most of the finance department resources being deployed into the relationship management. Finance and budgeting and forecasting and analysis and generating and tracking the budget is now being managed, like in many companies like Microsoft, no finance department anymore. IBM, no more finance department. Don't be worried about your job, but that is how is the future gonna perceive all of these jobs. On the other side, the technology created for the finance people more jobs and more, because they understand the finance, they know how things goes inside the budgeting, booking, forecasting, analysis, how to calculate the ROI. That's why they will be very good relationship managers, because they will know how to price things in the right way. So there are a lot of jobs being created, and a lot of jobs will get dissolved. Like, I'm not talking about 20 years from now. No. Like, even with what pandemic has proven that people can now learn online, working online. So the change in how we are doing things, proven that the technology can support. Now I understand that even some governments are reconsidering the immigration laws, the work permits, visas, all of these things. So there are a lot of things to learn. And again, from finance or medical or engineering, you need to learn from a user how you can use the technology, not to build it. That's a big difference.
You're right. So I'm curious to hear from your aspect, what are the trends that we should be, what are the trends that we would look ahead in 2021?
Okay. I think that the first and the most critical part is the data again. How does the data gonna impact my way of doing things? How I will be able to operate more effectively and in an efficient way. So the first part on the data, I need to learn more about how I can extract more value out of the data, and that's how I should be learning more about the machine learning, about the algorithms that it is compiling the data models, how I can have more statistical information about my larger set of data. And usually the analytics and the data models will tell you things which you don't know, not the things which you know about your clients or about your transactions or about your budget. So this piece of analytics, how to apply it, is your responsibility by building the right models. I'm not talking about advanced statistical models. I'm saying about very simple models. As an example, if I am in a retail business, I need to build a model to analyze my clients in terms of their spending behaviors, in terms of their income behaviors, in terms of, if I go a little bit deep, based on their segmentation. If my retail clients are, let's say, doctors or engineers, how do they spend money? What is the percentage of grocery versus educational spend versus entertainment? So I can give them more advices and knowledge, and this advice and knowledge should be with the choices 1, 2, and 3. So building more techniques around, surrounding, and within the data is very important. Second point is my skills. I need to sharpen my skills, and as what we discussed about knowing the technology, and also the HR piece in any individual, because HR now is getting changed totally. Like people now being hired and working remotely, and what was proven that people can work remotely as efficient as if they are in the offices. And that is gonna open much more opportunities for individual. Like earlier you'd had an access to the pool of tenants within Bahrain. Now you do have the access to the tool of the pool of the tenant across the world. You don't anymore have the restriction of the physical presence to be able to extract and get value of an individual. So that is also giving opportunities for even Bahrainis to access much more wider job market worldwide, and the other way around. So as a trend is learning the new communication capabilities in the HR part. How do I present myself? How I work on my skill set? How I learn new techniques? All of this is very also important and critical.
Well, thank you so much, Samih, for giving us your time. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you.
Thank you very much, and wish you all the best, and you and the team.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. If you like this episode, please don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any episodes.